the Facebook page that it's sent to. There we are. Share. All right, here we go. If I can read, I'm still bad at reading out loud. Hey, you're listening to the Big E Comedy Venture Podcast. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Eric Fady. I'm a podcaster and Michigan area stand-up comic. I'll be taking 2022 to travel around America with the goal of really exploring the country while also trying to perform comedy in at least once in all 50 states. This podcast is a weekly show where I will be sharing my experiences from being on the road throughout this crazy adventure. But because I can be someone who tends to ramble a bit and could use help reining in my storytelling once in a while, I've asked my good friend Amy to be my virtual co-host / sidekick for this wild ride. I'm titling this episode From Idea to Reality. Now, in reality, all the other episodes will just be titled state names, but I felt like I had to come up with titles for these. Anyway, hello, Amy.
Hello, how are you?
I am doing great. That's actually pretty solid reading by me. I'm not a good
I thought it was good
reader, so it sounded very professional. I felt
you really improved.
Anyway, so these are still a little weird to me. I'm still getting used to doing this. It will be easier on the road, I am sure,
Yes.
because then I'll just instantly be like, hey, where are you today? Where are you recording? But like now, still in my parents' bedroom here, or my room.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh. Migs and Layla. Migs and Diesel.
I'm sure.
Is a male person outside or something?
Probably. I'm going to go on mute. So just start talking about something.
Okay.
Talk about what this episode's going to be.
Okay, sounds good. As I said, I titled this episode From Idea to Reality. So the thought process I had behind it is that how did this kind of half-ass idea I've had for a long time really make its way into something that was I decided I was going to do. So I'm looking at her face because I feel like the dogs must still be going crazy because she's laughing. But Amy is. Oh, she's still on mute, I'm guessing.
I'm back.
Oh, you're back? Are they?
Back.
I guess they're calmed down now.
Yeah. Rocky came upstairs to try to
tame them. Try to quell the situation.
And it just only made it worse. That's why I was
Of course, yeah. Yes, that is how they work. So basically what I was gonna say, we kind of talked about it last week, but I don't know if I really got into it. But like I said, I'd had this idea for a while, and then I was in this relationship, and then also the Detroit cast was on a weird situation where I didn't know what to do, and COVID had hit. And when that relationship ended, I just didn't know what to do. It was the first time in my life I'd been lost. It's been a long time since I've been quote unquote lost or didn't have a goal.
That hit you hard.
It hit me very hard. It was like, you know me, Amy. I'm a very upbeat person. Like I'm not getting into my depression over the breakup, but I'm just saying, like, with the pot, if only one of those things had happened, it'd have been one thing, but two things happened. I couldn't like delve into my job per se.
Right. Your whole life changed.
Right. So I was waking up in the morning with really no purpose, but me and Lene had talked about this idea. Like I'd had this idea for a while, and then I started talking about it with Lene as something that maybe we would do in 10 years though, more like, hey, we could start saving up, and then, situations in her life would open up.
We could start saving up, or you could start saving up.
Wow. We would be a partnership.
This ended up being way cheaper for you. This is best case scenario.
Very true. Very true. This did end up being a lot cheaper. But nonetheless, I would say if in reality, if it had not been for her, even though the idea had been in my head years before, it had gone away in a lot of ways because I didn't really think it was something I could do. And then when that ended and the podcast was in a weird place, I started doing gig work, as it were, where you can just work every day. And I just worked out my emotional pain and stuff like that. But also then I started making money, decent amount of money. And I was like, oh shit, maybe I could do something with this money. Like, And so that's where this came from. That's where the history of kind of like, that's where I finally was like, I could do this, but I still think it felt very, I don't know when it felt like when it was going to be a real thing that I was going to do. You know what I mean?
It still doesn't really seem real. Like,
No,
it seems
it
like
doesn't.
we're just talking about it, but you legit leave soon.
2 weeks from today, for example, I mean, I will be somewhere. I mean, my guess is,
So
like,
what
for
day do
example,
you actually leave?
we leave the 27th, the Monday after Christmas.
Okay.
And it depends. My buddies, the guys that I do the Two Hippies, One Drunk podcast with, that are coming with me. I'm going to maybe see if they want to come down to my parents on that Sunday so we could get going a little earlier Monday. But no matter what, we'll be leaving like by this week time next week, 2 weeks from now. Yeah, we'll be on the road because we have to get out to LA. And
how long is it supposed to take you to get from here to LA?
I mean, I think Google's a tough thing because Google, you know, when you do it through Google, they tell you that's like based on speed limits, but it's also based on no accidents, no nothing, right?
Right.
So I think it's like 38 hours or something like that. Okay. Now we're trying to do it in 4 days, I guess, which 12, 24, 36, 48. That should be enough if you do about 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
And so
and where do you plan? Is this a type of situation where you're going to be like sleeping in hotels as you drive?
Yeah, no, we'll be in hotels. But I don't know where we'll, like, I do already have an idea of, like, hopefully we're at least down to Nashville by when we stop on Monday. Okay. Like, I did kind of look at it in segments,
thinking, get out there.
The thing is because it's winter. I think I mentioned this the first one, but yeah. So because it's winter, we're going south. We're not going what would be considered a direct route.
Gotcha.
I'm going much further south and then going around the southern states. And that has to do
with your neuroses of not wanting to drive in mountains in the winter.
Well, mountains, and the problem is we're almost like on a Cannonball Run situation. We have to get out there for the flight.
Right. There's no room for error.
Yeah, there's no room for all of a sudden now we have to be stopped for, like, I've had my buddy Chubbs who used to drive out to Colorado for hiking or skiing with his parents, and it's like sometimes it didn't happen all the time, but sometimes they'd just be like the road shut down for a few hours.
Right.
And we don't really have that luxury. So so we're heading down towards like I said, Nashville and then through Dallas and stuff like that. But no, it doesn't feel real to me either, like, because I'm going through like my day-to-day life. I've noticed that because, like, you know what I mean? Because of course I am. I'm still just doing things day to day.
How much are you packing?
That's a good question. Actually, probably. So I'm thinking, let's see what you think about this. Because here's the thing. I'm a simple person in general. And what am I going to bring? 10. So I'm thinking I'm bringing like 3 hoodies, Okay.
3?
Maybe 4.
Okay,
maybe 4.
You're going to be, wait a second. We're talking about you packing for an entire year.
I know, but what am I going to?
Right? I mean, that's what we're talking
simple.
about. An entire year.
Yeah, but you got to remember, there's like space in the van. I can't be bringing 2 big bags of shit.
Oh my God. 4 hoodies. Okay. And in reality, you probably only wear 4 hoodies.
I only wear 3 or 4 hoodies. Right, so a few hoodies, a few t-shirts, a few pair of regular pants, like quote unquote regular pants, a bunch of sweatpants. Mm-hmm. Just some, I don't know. It's funny. You've mentioned this. I have thought about that. That's something I need to start doing. Yeah. And I'm such a nerd. Like, I need to decide, like, because, like, I like different clothes. And so, like, I say only bringing a few amount, but I like wearing, like, I want to, like, right now, if you're not watching, for example, like, most people tend to listen to these things, because I can see only one person's watching. But,
probably my mom.
Right. But I'm wearing my Pat Green shirt because I found out this week that Pat Green is going to be, the stars are aligning, Amy, for me. Like, Pat Green, turns out he's going to be doing a show in Dallas or in Fort Worth, Texas. Literally, it was like the exact timing of when we were going to be there anyway.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going to get to see my boy Pat Green. For anybody that knows me, knows that Pat Green is my all-time favorite singer. Also, hopefully I can get a redo, because last time I was at Billy Bob's, I got kicked out for being too drunk. So this is a redo. But my point is, I like the theme dress. So
Well,
it's not.
I was just about to say, Eric, I don't think it's hit you yet that you're going to be gone for an entire year. You're going to be gone for Michigan basketball. You're going to be gone for
I
Michigan
know.
football. You're going to be
I
gone
know.
for. What if the fucking Lions go on like this insane run and now you have to
No,
wear
the
your
Lions.
Lions jersey?
You know what? If the
everywhere?
Lions
you need
go
to
on a
bring all
run,
your sports stuff
Well,
with you.
well, for when the Lions were mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, so I don't have to worry about that.
Next
But-
year. Next year.
Well, but next year I'll be in Michigan at the end of August, so I'll pick up a Lions. And you know what? By the way,
Right,
if
fair
the
enough.
Lions got good, let's say in some scenario I'm on the road and the Lions start next year like undefeated,
Undefeated.
6-0. I'm on the road. I didn't bring the jersey. I'll pay for my mom to overnight a Lions jersey to
All
me
All
to start
right.
wearing around.
I
If I
mean, you
have
at
to.
least need to bring Michigan though, because that's something you can wear. I mean, you're gonna
Right.
wear
Well,
all
and then the
time.
thing is, they're playing in the playoff game,
Yes.
which thank God it ended up being the night game. That's another thing that fell in the line.
So, can I do a quick sidebar here about
You
that
can.
game? And this is funny because I know you're superstitious as well.
Right.
So we've watched the last two Michigan games here, my
Yeah.
husband and I, and it was with Ohio State.
I know where this is going. I feel like I know where
and-
this is going.
Yeah, Ohio State, and then against Iowa, and both times Rocky sat in the same chair in our
Right.
house for both games, and as
Right.
you know, they won both games. Well, they play on New Year's, and they
New
play
Year's Eve at
8:30.
7:30 here.
Yeah.
Or is it 7:30, 8:30, something like that?
Yeah, and so I'm like, what do you want to do? Like,
Because you guys go, and the reason you should say this is
Yeah. because we
you
usually
guys
go
happen
to
you
our friends'
go to a
house who live in
friend's,
your
yeah.
neighborhood. Yeah,
Right.
and that was our plan. So I'm like, but if we don't go, we're not gonna go when the game's over because I'm not gonna leave once the
Right.
game's over at 11:30. But
I gotta tell you,
he's like-
Amy.
I know what you would do. You would watch it here, wouldn't you?
I'm a person who likes to go to the bar. Now, if I'm at home, I'm going to fucking Ann Arbor and watching it. You know what I mean? That's me.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to say, though, is I'm superstitious.
Mhm.
And you telling me this now that I have this information, if you don't,
we
if you go to
don't-
Katie's and
And they
they
lose.
lose, I won't be able to forgive you. I'll be honest. Like,
You're gonna have to find a new co-host.
I'll know why they. I mean, in a way, at least I'll give me an out. But like, if you hadn't told me this, I wouldn't have even thought about it. But now that I know this
Oh my
information,
I know. So now we're stuck trying to decide if we're because if they played the earlier game, it would have been a
do you want me to
problem.
go over to her house and like give her some explanation? Like I could maybe water
I know.
it down
Or
a
maybe
little.
we could bring the chair with us. We could do that.
There you go. No,
Yeah.
I don't believe in that stuff though.
No,
I
I
believe it's
know.
got to be like everything.
Same
Like the-
situation. Yeah.
I mean, to me,
know.
I still to this day, and this is obviously has nothing to do with my comedy venture, but I still to this day, when I moved up to Holland in 2012 for the Tigers World Series, I was
Uh-huh.
so happy. It was the first time I was out of my parents' house. I was working on the radio. The Tigers won the AL championship, and I fucking washed my Tiger jersey before the World Series because I was going to go out and watch it in a bar. And I thought, it's a new town. I don't want a dirty jersey. And they got swept, as we all know now. So
You still haven't forgotten that.
I've not forgotten about it. And I will never be convinced that I'm the reason, not the reason,
I know.
not
So
the reason
Rocky
they
was
want.
like,
or-
Rocky was like, "What's more important, a Michigan win or like a night with our friends?" And I was like, "Well, a Michigan win, obviously. I mean, we see them all the time."
You see those guys frequently. Michigan has not been in the playoffs since it's been around.
I know.
They haven't been. They hadn't won a Big Ten, since there's been a title. I mean, this is a lot of things here.
I know.
And
I know.
and here's the thing: unless your friends die on New Year's Eve, right? You can see
Right,
them
that's
later.
good. Yes.
Of course, God, yes, fingers crossed. But
yes.
but the thing is like Michigan, they'll be there tomorrow. The Michigan win, you can't guarantee. Teams like this come around sometimes once in 10, 15 years.
I know. I know.
And if they beat Bama or Georgia, they have a real good chance at the national championship, Amy.
I know. I know.
This has a lot to do with me going on the road for comedy, but it's relevant. And
well, yeah, it is. And it's funny because I know that you are also superstitious, so you would appreciate his thought process here.
Yeah, no, I get it. Trust me. There's like in my situation, there's nothing I can do. I will say, and sometimes like if there's nothing you can do, there's nothing you can do. But I would certainly go out of my way. Like I remember back in the Wings days, like if they were down by a goal or something, and then I was like, and then they scored like 2 goals right away. It's like even if I have to go to the bathroom, I'm not getting up until the period ends or something because
right.
So yeah, but it is relevant as far as my clothes that I'm going to bring. Like I've already thought, for example, Amy, like shoes wise,
and like have to bring like, don't you have to pack for like
all weather situations, right?
Yeah.
No, I do. And then like here's another thing, for example, like and I actually do like fashion, but I became a real minimalist over the past year or so where I don't necessarily buy expensive things to buy them, but I like, how, like I said, how I theme dress. I like wearing certain things. So you're right. Like even shoes, I've already thought, like I have one pair of my kind of flashy little, walking around shoes that I might go to the bar in. And then I have like a running pair, and then I have to have like a crappy pair. And I've already thought like, am I going to bring my cowboy boots? I want to bring my cowboy boots, but is that too much in the car? Because I'm bringing my cowboy hat. So
well, I think you got to bring the boots if you're bringing the hat.
Did I tell you this, by the way? Here, let me. I actually have it over here. I'm having this idea of wanting to get one person to sign my hat in every state, like cool. someone I just for whatever reason, if we're in a situation where. But the problem with wearing a cowboy hat, Amy, you want to know the problem with cowboy hats for real?
Tell me.
Is like. For one, they're not like you can't wear this on a plane that comfortably, right? Because your head goes back.
I wear big hats. I know what you're talking about.
Right. So the brim is a pain on the flight, on the plane. And then the other thing is like, I like it. I just like the look. It's a thing I've been to country music. But when you're wearing a cowboy hat, it's almost like, oh, that guy. Like everyone just assumes you're, cowboy hat guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you're that guy pretty much regardless. So
I kind of am, but it is a thought. So anyway, like I thought about bringing it up to Hawaii, and I'm like, well, that's a pain on the plane because there's a brim, and then what am I going to do? Put it in my lap because it's a 6-hour flight.
Well, but you can, throw it on when you get on the plane, and then you can take it off while you.
Yeah, I know, but 6-hour flight.
Hat box. Because I was traveling with hats so much, I was like, I need something to put this in.
Right,
but it's cool. It just like slides right over like your suitcase handle.
No, that makes sense. So anyway, but I didn't by any means plan on talking about my clothes as much in this, but it is relevant because it's something
relevant.
I am thinking about it. And
how are you going to do laundry, like socks and underwear and stuff?
Well, luckily I do know how to do laundry, so that's at least something.
Well, that's a plus.
So luckily, most hotels have laundry machines in them, and they do. A lot of hotels do.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
More than you probably realize. You probably don't realize it because again, most of us are not in a hotel in a situation where you're usually needing to use the laundry. But honestly, most hotels have one. And then we got some Airbnbs we're staying at. And then there's always the laundromats. Laundromat would be. Go ahead.
Are you bringing like detergent, or are you just like that?
I guess I'll just buy just buy a thing. I guess I think for Hawaii that's a pain because you can't obviously bring it out there. I just won't wash clothes in Hawaii.
Will you be out there?
5 days, so maybe I just won't wash clothes out there.
You won't have to do laundry out there then.
And then when I get back, I'll just do it. But no, all that stuff is things that. When I talk about this idea becoming a reality, I can circle this all in to this idea, right? The dream, the thought of like, I'll just be in hotels and camping and all this fun stuff. But you're right. There's a lot of real world stuff that it's like when you're just gone for 3 days, 4 days, even a week to Mexico, say, you don't need to worry about that stuff really because you just plan for the week. And then you just, when I get home, I'll, wash my clothes. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Now, what is the expectations from your parents in terms of like communicating with them while you're gone? Like if I were me, my mom would be like, I need to know every night that you're in bed that you're alive.
Yeah. No, my mom will definitely.
I know your mom
is
protective.
Well, my mom will definitely do that. We actually just upgraded we had a cell phone plan and we upgraded it to a little 5G. I wasn't even on 5G yet. So we upgraded that. So that helps. But I mean, my mom will probably be nutso for a while. But I'll let her know every night.
To all of these?
I don't even know if she knows how to do that. So maybe not, but maybe she will learn how to do it at some point and listen to them.
I'll help her.
I would advise her not to, as I always advised her not to listen to the Detroit cast, but
yeah, that's true.
But I, as far as talking to her, I mean, my thought would be on certain days, like I'll text her in the morning. Here's where we are.
Yeah.
You know,
you got to remember this is where we're in touch.
This is where we're going to be tonight. And these days, I mean, you know, we just had that couple, obviously. Now, that was a crazy situation, but things do happen out there. I mean, even though I have friends with me, shit can go down for sure.
Never know. I don't know. You're going to come across at a gas station,
Especially if I'm filming around.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder how that's going to
go. Interesting.
Right. The idea of some fucking, I have thought about that. Like when I told you about the idea of like last week about not wanting anyone to know where we're staying, like girls and stuff. Like, hey, if you're talking to some girl,
which is going to last, you're going to be the first one to break that.
Well, 100%. Nonetheless, but you know my thought process behind it though, right?
Yes. We know that you're going in with good intentions. And
so I do think about that stuff. Like let me see what you think about this. Let me ask your thought on this, because my dad was thinking about buying us one of those like toppers, right, for your van. Not a big one, but just like a little thing to put some extra stuff in the van, like almost like our camping stuff, since we're not going to be using it as much at the beginning. Mm-hmm. So that way it frees up room in the back, right? Mm-hmm. And so I had this weird, crazy thought that like I want this to be as nondescript as possible. I don't want anyone to, but the problem is the license plate already is going to say Michigan. You have to remember that, now that I think about it, right? But like I had this thought of like, well, if there's a topper on the van, that means they're on a trip, and that means they're out of town, and maybe that's a good van to rob. And so like I've gone, and I don't know, does that make sense to you or no? Does that seem totally crazy?
It does. I mean, I can see where you're coming from, but I would probably still use the topper because I'm a responsible adult and I would lock my car. I know that you're not that way.
Well, I will be locking it in these situations. But and so like when I say that, it almost leads me to like, in a weird way, like I have thought like as a kid, this is the difference between if I'd done this at 18 and doing it at 37. I would never have thought of any of this stuff, but I have thought of like even as simple as doing these comedy shows, dude. You're just in bars and shit, and all it takes is one person in some dingy bar to go, "Oh, these three kids are just up there talking about how they're just traveling around," and you know what I mean, and then just following us somewhere or something. Right. And so it's like I don't even know at some level how safe you can. You just got to do what you do,
right?
But I have thought about stuff like that. Like it only takes one crazy person. So you know, and like I said, you're filming outside some gas station, like you mentioned, and I'm doing my little show where I'm like, oh, we're reviewing this gas station in Butthole, Nebraska.
Yeah,
and you got some guy, hey,
whoa, taking a shower.
Right. Who are these guys? So you want to like, and that's like
gross. If you come across one of those gas stations where like you can take the showers there, you have to go into one.
I think I have to because I've never done it before and it's not something I would do.
Yeah, I know.
But you're right. I agree. For this trip, I need to do it at least once just to say I've done it and to see what they're like.
I know.
Although don't you, I mean, and look, none of us, even though I love truck stops, again, I've never been in a truck stop shower. I think some of that stuff we think of, like there'll be places, don't get me wrong, there'll be places that you could drive by the truck stop and go, and they may have showers and be like, that's not one of the ones.
Yeah.
But it does seem like in the last 10 years, a lot of these ones have gotten much more corporate.
A lot
like,
nicer, you know,
yeah, like I'm not saying the showers are cleaned every hour. I'm not saying that, but like, like it seems like, I mean, you got like, you know, Loves or whatever and TA,
right.
And they're much more corporate than I think they used to be. Sure. Like, so I don't think it would be as I mean, you could find the one if you wanted to. Like, if you wanted to, you could find one and go, "Oh, we're gonna do it in this one," knowing it's gonna be crappy. But I think you could go into plenty of them and be like, "That was great."
Yeah, for sure. No,
I don't know how that would go. I'm trying to think here. So, where did I have this? Man, I have these notes, and then it's like I never go there at all. Let me just ask you from what we've kind of discussed. You do a better job at facilitating some of this stuff. I'm only going to do this for a few more minutes here. What do you? you have any questions on as far as like from stuff that I've mentioned or?
Let's see here. I don't know.
Well, let's get back into the clothes. Let's get back in these clothes.
I'm honestly really fascinated about the packing situation because I'm starting to think about me packing, and it would be so fucking stressful. Holy shit.
You're right. And it's funny, you are right. I was thinking about this yesterday where I was like, I have to finally like I can't just I can't
close by. You need to like start packing.
Like, you know what I thought about today, for example? I'll tell you this. Like boxers are no big deal. You can, I actually just recently went and bought I just bought a cheap fucking $19.99 at Walmart, a 6-pack of whatever boxers they have. But oh, you meant boxers.
Yeah.
Undergarments. But like I thought about like those are no big deal, but like socks are kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like socks, and I got that toe fungus shit, so I'm really supposed to be wearing new socks every day. And like clean socks and I do at home.
Yeah,
I do at home, but I have started to think like on the road that is going to be more because what do you do? What do you do with the dirty clothes? Do I just throw them back in a big bag?
If it were me, I would be packing enough undergarments for like 2 weeks.
Right. I'm going to do a week.
I would do 2. And then bring like a
Should I be having
bag.
Should I be having a separate bag that I just put in the dirty
bag not like a suitcase necessarily, but like a clothes,
I have a backpack or something or
even just like a garbage bag. Like you can
and
put it into a garbage bag.
See, this is something I swear to God, I'm not trying to just be like this. I didn't even like think about the aspect of like I thought, okay, they have washer and dryers and but even that when you think about remember when you're doing it at a hotel, it's nice that they have it right and stuff. But you're still that means you're walking down to like the first floor or something and you have to put it
quarters.
Right, and place them in there and then like wait the half hour? You go up to your room hoping someone doesn't steal your clothes and shit?
Right. Oh,
like I didn't even think about some of these. Right. So I guess you just find something to watch on Netflix and sit down there or something.
Yeah.
But I didn't even like as dumb as it sounds, I didn't think about okay, like at home right now, my routine is not that I know I'm a man child, but like my routine is like I have my own kind of basement is kind of my little area and there's a shower, bathroom down there, right? So every day I go on and whenever I take my shower, I just take off my old clothes, throw them in a pile, put on my new stuff, and then after 3 or 4 days, I take that pile up and wash them. Which actually, I just realized I put some
adult activity right now.
No, I understand that. And by the way, I just realized I put some clothes in the washer and I forgot to take them out and put them in the dryer. But anyway, no, but what I mean is like I never thought about the fact that I have to do something with those clothes.
Right.
Between the period, like
they can't, You can't just leave them on the floor.
And I don't want to put sweaty clothes that I was like going on a hike with or something back in the same bag. So, this was productive. See, this was good.
There you go. I do think that you should get something for on top of your van, though.
Well, you know what we decided to go with? What do we think about this? We decided to go with because I said, not to. If he was willing to buy it for like a Christmas present, and I was like, well, if we could get away with not having it, I could take that $200 or $300 and just. I could use all the cash I can get.
Yeah.
So what we went with is we're going to go out on the road, pack everything up and hit the road and see how feasible it seems when we're on the road. And then if we get out there and after a week, we're like, dude, this is a pain. We're moving blankets around or something. Then we're going to go with it. So we're going to kind of do a wait and see situation.
Sounds good. You can always stop at a Walmart somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I'm going to have to rename this episode talking about clothes on the road.
Packing for a year-long trip.
I didn't plan on it going on that way, but it's probably worked out good for me because honestly, I started looking at something that I had not thought about. And that's what you're here for, Amy. Thank God.
Success.
You've earned your whatever.
I've earned my freeze worth.
Yeah, you've earned your freeze worth. I want to take this time at the end to just remind people that also I do another weekly podcast called the 2 Hippies, 1 Drunk podcast. That's 2, number 2, 1, number 1, 2 Hippies, 1 Drunk. It's on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. We do a weekly show on Wednesdays. We'll also be doing a show on the road. This show, of course, is on Spotify and iTunes and all that stuff. And so there's that. So if you could please go and subscribe to all that stuff, it really makes me really helps us grow this thing. And I'm gonna start mentioning this, even though I'm not suspecting anyone to give me money until we're on the road. But as a heads up to anyone listening, I'm gonna kind of on a good faith thing. Hopefully, once we get on the road, ask if some people be willing to give. I'd say $1 an episode or $1 a week. You don't even have to do, if you listen to all three that week, you don't even have to give $1 to all three. Just $1 a week even would, I know it sounds small, but you get 100 people to do that. That's 100 a week. And that's maybe gas for, half the week or something. So I could really appreciate that.
Thanks a lot,
Amy,
Biden.
would you like to, what's up?
I said, thanks a lot, Biden. About the gas
Oh, right.
prices.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Nice, Amy. No, I get it. I get it. Trust me. I know. Would you like to promote
it would have been
yourself?
a lot cheaper if you went a couple years ago. Yeah, I'm awake, not woke. 17 on the platforms.
Here's a weird thing. Here's a weird part about that, and this has nothing to do with politics at all. Through different life things, I couldn't have, without COVID, I could not have actually done this trip. Probably,
right.
Believe it or not. So without certain things that people really hate, I couldn't have done it. But then some things are coming into play that are going to make it harder than it could have been.
Right,
so
right,
it's a weird situation.
Yeah.
That we're in.
Pluses and negatives.
That was a wake, not woke. Do you want to that was Chris? Awake, not woke.
17.
Okay. And are you allowed to what was it? Not pump up. I'm trying to think like.
Oh yeah, I'm also on Heroin Has a Great Publicist with J. Chris Newberg. I think
the very funny J. Chris Newberg.
He actually just texted me and said, "You want a pod tomorrow or Thursday?" So we are likely going to do one tomorrow or Thursday.
Nice.
Probably not tomorrow. I'm going to the Wings game tomorrow.
Ooh, glass seats as usual, I assume.
A little bit further up, but center ice.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. Well, that's it.
All right.
Thank you so much, Amy.
I'll see you next week.
Be back next week.